in the House of Representatives to do their job, fund the government. We got a lot to discuss, so let's get this meeting started. I'd rather hear from you than me. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you think the government shutdown is inevitable?
I don't think anything is inevitable in politics.
What can be done now to make sure it doesn't happen?
Are you missing a stimulus check? Thousands of Americans are well. Now, thousands of Americans are set to receive the latest stimulus payment. New batches of checks are going to be deposited. According to Newsweek, thousands of people in California are missing out on the middle-class tax refund. But you'll receive it by the end of the month. Most residents got a payment last year of up to $1,000, depending on their income, filing status, and whether they had children. The Democratic-controlled Senate has approved a one-time payment to eligible Californians, just to help offset the record high gas price. And when asked about the payments, Gavin Newsom said that we know it's expensive right now, and California is putting money back into the pockets to help people. They're sending out refunds worth over $1,000 to help families pay for everything from groceries to gas. And now the state's franchise tax board has confirmed that 5,000 payments will be issued by the end of the month for those who qualified but never received it. The batch is expected to be the latest and newest set of payments, but a spokesman even said that there could still be some cases going forward where people reissued money. Now, if they lost a debit card or payment and was sent a previous address on the return. But a total of $9 billion in middle-class tax refund has been issued. It includes 7 million refunds, 9.2 million debit cards. One of the cards is actually sent out. That 80% have actually been activated for a total of $4 billion being given to the people that need it in America. According to Newsweek, the cards expire in April 2026, and the board is sending out letters to people who have not activated that card with the instructions on how to do it. According to CNBC, IRS is shifting how it examines tax returns for lower earners as part of the broad effort to just address inequity in enforcement. Starting in 2024, the agency will substantially reduce the number of so-called correspondence audits, which happen by mail. The letter comes roughly a week after the IRS unveiled plans to use boosted technology and artificial intelligence to collect unpaid taxes from high earners, partnerships, and so forth. But even the vice president of the Center on Budget Policies has said that it's a part of the whole rebalancing act. They're reusing resources to reverse the decline in enforcement at the top. Only 2% of Americans earning more than $5 million a year have faced an audit in 2019, down from 16% in 2010. The findings showed the earned income tax credit has contributed to the disparity. The IRS is weighing policy issues to change this issue. The IRS aims to curb the correspondence audits for the earned income tax credit by helping taxpayers file more accurate returns up front, which will increase payment accuracy. Generally, refundable tax credits such as the earned income tax credit face more scrutiny because, filers can still receive a refund without taxes owed. More than 26 million low-income taxpayers received the earned income tax credit during the year. Now, the reason for so many errors is the IRS's fault. So both Democratic and Republican lawmakers, everybody, are negotiating on Americans receiving universal basic income payments. This is some good news. It has been announced up to $18,000 may be claimed by several people that are experiencing financial difficulties. So if you qualify for this extra stimulus check, be sure to watch this entire video because you definitely don't want to miss out on it. So the past 2 round stimulus checks have been given to people, and more and more Americans are feeling the need for universal basic income. But many lawmakers in certain states and cities are getting used to this idea. Universal basic income is a set of recurring payments that individuals get from the government. These can be paid out every month, several times a year, or just once annually. Now, this is an idea that entrepreneur Andrew Yang, who recently left the Democratic Party, centered his 2020 presidential campaign around. Now, the good news is that states across the country are beginning to implement their own relief plans that include sending out state relief payments. For a while now, Alaska has been giving its citizens checks under the Alaska Permanent Fund. The fund, which has been around since 1982, was designed to provide state residents, citizens, with a portion of state oil revenues. The Sovereign Wealth Fund pays out annual dividends to eligible citizens. To qualify, you must be an Alaska resident for at least a year, and you're not eligible for this if you've been convicted. Last year's payment went out to 643,000 citizens in Alaska. That totaled around $1,200 per person. The highest payout occurred in 2008 when the payment was around $2,000. Now more money is headed into the pockets of thousands of people who live in Chicago. The Chicago City Council yesterday approved a multi-million-dollar budget, which includes hundreds of hundreds of dollars for thousands of households in the Windy City. This makes it the largest basic income pilot program in the United States. To qualify, individuals must earn less than 35 grand per year. Participants will be chosen by random. That means you can't apply yourself. Now, the money for this plan is provided under Biden's American Rescue Plan. The passage comes a day after LA announced its program to help thousands of families in the city. The Chicago program is meant to relieve the financial burden on families affected by the crisis. Hundreds of thousands of people in Chicago lost their jobs during the first 6 months of the crisis, and about 18% of people living in Chicago are below the federal.
Economists tell us, spend the money, invest the money for those who need it the most, because they will spend it. It will be a stimulus, or at least a stabilization and that's a good thing.
The argument is over how much is appropriate at this particular juncture as we struggle to get the economy back.
According to state officials in Connecticut, healthcare workers, grocery store employees, and private sector employees who staffed vital services during the first 2 years of the crisis can begin applying for up to $1,000. It won't be clear until early October where the applicants will receive as much as $1,000, and that's because legislators and the governor, Ned Lamont, allocated just $30 million for the program. He said that Connecticut's essential workers have gone above and beyond during the crisis to keep the state running and safe. The new premium pay program is another way for us to return the favor, for these funds are truly meaningful. Every essential worker needs to know that they're available. To be eligible, an applicant must have worked between March 10th and May 7th of 2022 in one of these occupations that the state has listed. Some of the frontline workers in these categories include healthcare personnel. Eligible applicants must earn at least. Some of the frontline workers in these categories include healthcare personnel, food and agricultural workers, grocery store staff, and public transit workers. Applicants must earn less than 150 grand per year and cannot be employed by a federal or state entity. Full-time workers who earn less than 100 grand can apply for a $1,000 grant. Those earning more than 100,000 but less than 150,000 are eligible for grants on a sliding scale, ranging as low as 200. Part-timers working less than 30 hours a week can apply for a $500 grant. The application period will run until October 1st, and the goal is to process requests within a 60-day window. And for the company of Lowe's, the CEO said that in recognition of high inflation, we're providing $55 million in bonuses to our hourly frontline associates this quarter. And though there has been a slight decrease in gas and travel costs, recently the impacts of inflation are still affecting Americans, making it tougher for families to afford groceries and other essential goods. Microsoft, ExxonMobil, Walmart, USA have also offered bonuses, pay raises, and even gift cards to employees. But still, many of the nation's employers are still not paying their workers a living wage. The company website states that Lowe's employs around 300,000 associates, but it is not specified how much money each worker will receive and over what time period.
Between the White House and administration and Democrats.